Hi, my name is John. I'm a Part 107 small unmanned aircraft operator, otherwise known as a drone operator. Today I'm going to be doing something really important, which is I'm going to review the EXO Cinemaster 2. Why the Cinemaster 2, you ask? Because the Cinemaster needed a sequel. We're going to unbox and fly a Cinemaster 2. I'm also going to share with you some of the video that I shot. Then when we're all done with that, I'll give you my thoughts on the Cinemaster 2 and things I wish they would have done better. Which, by the way, are not a lot. When you open up the Cinemaster 2 box, you'll find another box. The semi-hard shell case is built pretty solidly. It zippers open, and when I say hard shell case, I mean it has a heft to it. Inside, underneath a piece of styrofoam, you'll find the transmitter, the drone, and a zippered container that contains all your essentials. There's also 2 spaces for extra batteries. The drone weighs in at around 22-23 ounces. Things I like about the Cinemaster 2. Outside of the gimbal cover, which we'll get to in a second, it's built really well. It comes with the props attached, and as you can tell, they're A and B props. It comes installed with a little separator between the battery compartment and the battery so that it doesn't burn the battery out during transportation. There's the gimbal cover that I speak of. In order to get the gimbal cover off, first what you have to do is pinch the sides, pull. Next, what you have to do is separate the legs of the drone. The gimbal cover will not come out unless the drone legs are separated. There's a little latch and then pull straight out. In order to put the gimbal cover back on, you have to line it up with the gimbal, slide it into the hole, and then snap it in place. Inside the zipper container, you'll find the manual, the quick start manual, a set of props, 2 power cords, one which is a power cord for quick charging, another power cord which is a standard C-type USB cord, and like any good drone company, they include a small screwdriver. I'm going to compare the Deerc D15, my first drone, with the Cinemaster. Here's the controller for my D15, here's the controller for the Cinemaster. Try to tell the difference between these 2 controllers. I would go to say outside of the color, these 2 controllers are identical. Right there is where you stick the memory card. I hope you can see it right there. And try to use memory that's above class 10. Alright, let's get the EXO ready for takeoff. First you gotta stretch these guys out. You might notice that my hands are shaking. It was 45 degrees that day. There's a little taggy. That label's gonna come off. Put that for there for now. There we go. See if we can carefully take this off so that we don't take anything with us. Little sticker. When you get the battery will have a piece of foam right here. Make sure you take the foam off. There's a sticker here that needs to come off, and I'm leaving that guy on for now. Don't forget to fold down the front legs before takeoff. The first time you use an EXO, you're supposed to pair it. In order to pair, I have to press this button, hold it down, do that, while the drone is on. Now it's time for geomagnetic calibration. Turn the drone 3 times horizontally and turn it 3 times vertically. The lights change, letting you know that you've calibrated them correctly. Make sure you do this, otherwise the drone might not be stable. Waiting for the wind to die down just a little bit. Another important reminder, check the number of GPS satellites on your transmitter. I usually don't take off until it says 9. Remember, your drone doesn't know where it is without GPS satellites. Now that we're in the air, you'll see just how good the color is in the Cinemaster 2. I did notice that the saturation is bumped up in the factory settings. I ran a similar route between the D15 and the Cinemaster 2 so that you could accurately compare the color between the 2. These shots were taken about 20 minutes apart. On the left, you'll see that the browns are a little washed out, whereas there's more clarity and color in the browns on the right. I also like the color detail in the shadow areas of the Cinemaster 2. The greens seem more vibrant. Everything seems less washed out. As we go over this car in the Cinemaster 2, I would like for you to pay attention to that area on the left. When you charge forward in the Cinemaster 2, if the gimbal is level to the horizon, then the act of moving forward will put the props in view. However, if you're pointed downward just a little bit, you won't see the props. Both of these shots are looking slightly into the sun. The Cinemaster, I believe, gives better contrast, whereas the D15 is looking washed out. Notice that the D15 shot is darker, yet you see more detail in the Cinemaster 2 shot. I like this shot specifically because it shows you how the Cinemaster deals with a harsh light coming towards it. In this image, the sun is at a 90-degree angle. You'll notice that you can see the rocks at the bottom of the water through the water. All of the background sound is from the Cinemaster 2. That's my Canon camera there on the right. On the top is a poorly exposed SLR shot. On the bottom is the Cinemaster 2. The Cinemaster 2 is showing you that even when the drone is moving left and right at extreme angles, it still keeps the horizon in a level position. As I gawk up at my drone, I'm coming in for a landing. Successful first test. A few beauty shots from the drone. Here in the Cinemaster, I'm passing over a football field and showing you its climbing rate. Just showing you how fast it can go. I really like the difference between the green of the lawn and the artificial turf. In this image, you can see that even in the artificial turf, there are different shades of green. Now it's just a shot just taking straight off, just going straight up, to give you an idea of how good the drone is looking into haze from above. I'm not at maximum altitude, but I'm getting close to it. Coming back down, taking my time in a slow descent. I love how in this shot you can't even tell that it's a drone until the camera pans. I was probably about 40 feet in the air at this time. It's dusk, it's low light, but you can still see a lot of the detail in the browns. There is a little bit of grain there, but pay attention to the lawn. Pay attention to the brown areas, the different red areas that you could see. That's where I think you can really tell the subtlety of a camera that can deal with low light. In this particular shot, look at the brownish, reddish red tree. Look at the reflections in the water. The reflections of the cloud in the water in here, especially the area that is on the edge of the water. As I track this car, notice the clouds. I love this particular shot because it was shot when it was just above freezing. The detail in the trees and the reflection of the trees. What did I like about the Cinemaster 2? Well, to start out, it took great shots. The color detail was fantastic. There was extended range into the shadows. I could see shadow detail. The dynamic range felt really good to me, and the color saturation was great. The hover was stable, and as far as I could tell, it was about as rock steady as you can get as far as any drone goes. I was flying in not a windy day, but a day that there were unexpected gusts, and it would respond in kind every single time. Having a heavier drone, I'm sure, helps in those instances. I love the build. It just has a solid feel to it from beginning to end. As far as things I don't like, the gimbal cover is a really cool addition. I'm glad that it protects the gimbal when you're putting it away or when you're taking it out. I wish it attached in a different way. It's really finicky, and it feels like the way that you have to pull out the cover just feels like you could accidentally injure it in that way. You just have to be very careful removing it, is what I'm saying. I'm not convinced that the props won't become a problem at a later time. Granted, I've only used one other drone before, and this is my second drone, so what do I know, right? But if you have a solid prop, as every prop in the world of aviation is, you know where to see the points of failure. You can go ahead and actually feel the prop and figure out, oh, okay, I have a nick here, or there's a line going through it, and I think this is going to be a point of failure. When you have props that fold in, that adds an additional point of failure, and it's one that's not clearly, it's nothing that you can clearly see. What that means is that at some point in time, when that does fail, you're not going to have the opportunity to catch it ahead of time. And that means you could end up losing your drone at 200 or 300 feet up and not even know that the prop was a problem in the first place. I'm still new to them, and I'm sure I'll find out over time if that's as apparent of a problem as I believe it is. And hopefully I'm proven completely wrong. Having said that, I love the Cinemaster 2. It is blowing away my D15, and granted my D15 was an entry-level drone, but it's blowing my D15 away as far as color quality, as far as the gimbal goes, and everything that's important to me. The speed is great. The maneuverability is great. It just feels like it's doing a lot of the subtle things better. And when it hovers, it just hovers like a dream. Please support EXO if you like good drone companies, and if you're not up to DJI yet, even if you are up to DJI, try an EXO. Cinemaster 2 might not have all the features that you want, but it's a pretty damn good sequel.